Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie and this is my Shaman Memoirs channel. So you guys will notice my background is a bit different. So over the past week here, my boyfriend and I, we've been moving everything around, and it's so funny because my last video I talked about how there was that really loud computer of his and we're sharing this room. So finally you guys, I have my own room. So the boyfriend, he is now stationed in the other room, and then I'm finally in my own room, and I started my beauty channel, so everything is coming together. And it's so funny because I just set up my room literally last night. So my younger sister, she actually came over. We're having dinner in here, we're hanging out, we're loving everything. And then here comes my boyfriend. He's just like, he brings in my chair and he's just sitting in here because I also have a makeup chair. So anyway, so you know, we're all just hanging out in here and he's like talking about other things he wants to help me with this room. So on the wall over there, there's actually still a whole freaking shelf with a bunch of his boxes. So this is definitely a work in progress, and one day I will have the entire room to myself. All right, back to the topic on hand today. We are going to be talking a little bit about astral projection. So I recently got a question. The individual wanted to know my thoughts on astral projection, and could it actually, if they were practicing it, could it help them reach the spirit world? So we're going to get into that in this video. All right, so astral projection, for anybody who does not know, because I was talking to my younger sister about this and she wasn't aware of what astral projection was as well. And you know, I mean, sometimes I really think a lot of people know the things I talk about, and then I'm starting to kind of wonder if a lot of you guys don't. So astral projection, the most common term is an outer body experience. So if you guys ever hear anybody talk about that, that is basically astral projection, or AP. And a lot of people, they just call it an outer body experience. This is definitely linked heavily to like lucid dreaming, where you guys can control your dreams. And the most common form of astral projection, especially the early stages, a lot of people, they will talk about floating above their body. And it's funny because a lot of people assume that type of astral projection because it is the easiest thing that they can relate to when they're practicing astral projection. Now, it has to do with when they are in the astral world, they can just see what they've already seen. They don't know how to see things that they've never seen. So there's a lot of research on that where they actually had people practicing it. I read a little bit only. I've never read the actual research, just a synopsis of people talking about how there has been research done where people will try to astral project to another room they have never been in, and what do they see there. So that was actually really interesting. I wish somebody would do like a fun movie about it. I would watch it. All right, so I'm not here to teach you how to astral project or the whole shebang about how astral projection works. I'm just going to be telling you guys about my own thoughts and personal opinions and what my guides say about astral projection. Now, definitely this is just coming from me. This is not, you know, going to be what every shaman sees or what every shaman views as far as astral projection. For myself, though, I would definitely say astral projection, the individual wanting to know if they practiced it, could they get into the spirit world? That is the spirit world. So there's a lot of issues that come up with that, okay? So from a shaman's perspective, when a shaman goes into the spirit world, we physically, our body, we don't leave and go anywhere. It is a part of our mind, our subconscious, leaving our body. However, our body, we still have another, it's kind of like a dual spirit. We still are aware of what's going on with our own physical body. However, we are also aware we have been taken from our body. If that made any sense. Well, I guess it does. It's kind of like how people daydream, you know? You'll be in school and you're daydreaming about what you're going to do after school, or when you're going to go on vacation, or when you're going to go on a hot date. You know, you start to daydream, but you're still very well aware you are there in that room being taught. Yet you're not fully paying attention in that room, but your mind has completely wandered. So it is a very similar type of experience when shamans are in the spirit world. And it's just a little different because it's really loud for us, for Hmong shamans, because we have a bunch of tools. And there's normally a lot of stomping going on, shaking going on. There's a lot of people around you. So that's kind of how it is. All right, the key points as far as shamanism goes though, and how we astral project. We are never alone whenever we reach or enter and go into this spirit world. And you know, like how I talk about, you know, magic is so easy to actually manifest as long as you know how to manifest it and you understand the workings behind it to get it to work, right? So astral projection and entering the spirit world, it is that fast and easy. For those of you who have astral project or had an outer body experience before, it is very easy to go into that plane of existence, essentially. Now, when a shaman enters it though, we are never alone. Never. For anybody who is actually practicing astral projection and you do find that you are alone, that's what I mean by there's a lot of connotations with this, and you know, you gotta be careful, but we'll go into that later. So who's actually with the shamans, okay? As an individual, when you're a shaman, you go into the spirit world, your guides are always with you. They always lead you, talk to you, they show you things, they tell you things. Some shamans will actually get emotions. Some shamans will get all the things I just listed. So for myself, for example, even though, yes, I can hear the voice, I can physically see them. Not everybody is going to hear the voice and physically see them. But even though I can do all that, I will still get feelings and emotions when I am in the spirit world as well. And I will say that the most common form of communication for shamans, it is just going to be emotions. A lot of people, they can't see anything, they can't see their guides, they can't hear them, so they will just get a feeling. And we'll go into my last question after that as far as more so about advice for beginning shamans. I've been getting a lot of questions lately, that's why I'm going to talk about that. Now back to, you know, having guides and astral projection. They are there to basically explain to us what's going on, how to get somewhere else, how to properly protect ourselves, how to do all sorts of types of magic. That is why we have guides when we astral project, in quotations, that's right. You know, I am just using AP or astral projection in relation to when a shaman will actually go into the spirit world. It is a similar type of how it's done, but it's kind of different as far as it's easier, I guess, for us to enter it once we kind of know, like once your guides come and take over. All right, so I'm going to break that down for you guys. For Hmong shamans, especially my lineage, we actually will have our tools on us, which are the rings, and I've shown them in another video, an older video, my actual rings. We do wear our rings. We do wear a tiho, which is basically some type of cotton, and the colors will vary. I've done a video on the colors as well, so you guys can go watch that. I don't want to get a flood of questions about the colors of the cap that shamans wear. So, you know, and then, you know, we sit on a bench and there's actually people who watch us on the outside when we are astral projecting, and they do hit a gong behind us. So the gong represents the spirits coming to take us, and then we leave and we go into the spirit world. So it is that instant on how it happens. We don't sit there and meditate for a while and we see when it's going to happen. Like, we don't wait until we get tired, or, you know, like it is that instant when we actually will just let go, and then we just go, literally. Now, what I also know, a lot of people when they astral project, and I don't know a lot of people who astral project, I'm going to throw that out there first, but with my guides, what they're saying is that a lot of people, they struggle with astral projection because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know where to go. They don't know what's happening. They don't know just how far they can actually go. A lot of it is pretty dark. People who can actually see when they are astral projecting, again, they are confused and they don't really know what they're doing. So with that being said, you know, how I talked about in other videos, people definitely, anybody can enter the spirit world. Anybody can, as long as you know how to get there. Okay. Anyways, but the whole point of that is, you know, like when you're not an actual shaman and you don't have guides to take you, that is when you walk into danger zone. So as I mentioned to you guys, the most common form of communication with a shaman and their guides, it is emotions. Because when they cannot form that connection to speak to you and you can hear them, they will go through your emotions. Unfortunately with that, you know, there are a lot of like where you don't trust the information. You don't really know if it's you or your guides. So then the shaman kind of goes, the individual, they pretty much go into like a funk because they just don't know what to do anymore, you know? So unfortunately, that is the most common form, though, of communication. And so the reason why shamans, you know, like we have different levels. I was recently asked about different levels as well. As you go through your levels, your teacher is supposed to be aware to see where you're struggling and not to raise you until you have accomplished the basics. So that's really why shamans have levels of shrines, because the more you graduate and go up, it means you are ready to become a master on your own. A master shaman, meaning you're going to take on other students and you're going to teach them how to be a good shaman as well. So if you are still so uncertain and you're already at your 3rd level shrine, I would not recommend you taking on students, and I would recommend you continuing to practice on your shaman journey. It takes some people years, you guys, years. I don't like to talk about my own journey a lot because people tend to compare it and they don't feel as satisfied with their own journey because they feel like they're left behind if they are not raised and become a master teacher shaman like super fast. So just keep that in mind. It does take years, you guys, years to practice this. This isn't something that the majority of the shaman population just gets like instantly, okay? Now, the biggest issue you're going to have with astral projections are going to be your regular life afterwards. So the reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of people, if you're not aware, whenever you enter and exit the spirit world, you need to know how to hide your path. If you don't know how to hide your path, there's a lot of things that can come with you. So the key signs to know that, you know, you need to be more cautious when entering the astral world is because you can physically get hurt. This is no longer just you think it's in your mind, you're not really sure you enter the spirit world, you're not really sure you astral projected, but you keep trying, okay? That alone, there's so many problems with that alone, because the fact that you don't know if you really entered the spirit world, and sometimes you might think it's still just in your head, but yet you keep trying, you know, that's when a lot of people become really, really haunted. So definitely the biggest signs with astral projection, you will physically go into pain. If you are doing something that you weren't supposed to, you can go into physical pain and you don't know why. You can get really, really bad luck. You can have really bad dreams. You can actually get sick. Especially if like a certain part of your body suddenly goes numb, you start to have all these complications in your bodies. I would definitely not recommend you astral projecting anymore, just because it's going to get worse unless you get help. And some people may bring an actual spirit back with them. I don't know what's worse, physical pain or an actual spirit brought back with you. So back to shamans and astral projecting and with having guides, okay? Shaman guides are there for a reason. They are there to protect the individual. And, you know, yes, depending on your levels, you can go very, very, very far in the spirit world. You can go to past, present, future lifespans. You can see what the next person is going to be born as. You're going to see their children. You're going to see their lifelines. You can see and know and find out so much information. But do you guys really think that in the spirit world, it is just an empty room? Anybody can walk in? It makes me wonder if that's what people really think it's like, because to get to those places, like let's say you really want to know how your past loved one is doing. I don't think people really understand the journey it takes to get there and how dangerous it actually is to get to that whole world where that's at. Same thing with looking at love lifelines, fates, and looking at in the future and things that you've done in the past that you need to rectify. It's not just out there and anybody can pick it up. It is really an actual heavy journey to get there. So there are certain types of shamans who do not have to do the whole shaking thing, okay? And the shaking thing, a lot of younger generation Hmong Americans call it jingle bells. So when the shaman goes into the spirit world, right, and they actually shake, that is a certain type of shaman, because not all shamans are like that. The shaking types of shamans, though, are the ones that a lot of people would consider a real shaman. Quotations, because I don't believe in that. I believe that anybody who has shaman spirit guides, regardless of their ability, is a shaman. But, you know, those are just more of the traditional old school types that a lot of people will go to for all sorts of healing. Now, you do have the shamans who also can actually just sit there, look at a candle. They can read Joss money, you know, like spirit money. They can read hands, they can read cards, you know, they can just burn incense sticks. So everybody has different types of abilities, right? And they can astral project in that way without needing to go on that long journey I spoke about. However, they are still able to protect themselves too. So this isn't just applicable to you actually doing a ceremony when you are going into the spirit world, because that's a whole journey on its own, and it's hours long, man. And in case anybody's wondering, before I get an email on it, why would people or shamans even do a whole ceremony if you can just go into the spirit world and just do things, right? So the big difference with a ceremony and actually just shaman services, ceremonies, you're actually fixing things. That's the point of a ceremony. That means a shaman is going into your spirit world. Okay, this is everything related to you or the individuals they are doing the ceremony for. And then they have to fix the things that they see are broken. Debts from past life, you know, things that are coming up in the future. So that is different from just asking shaman services. Other shaman services, that's going to be more so, you know, like, oh, why does my arm hurt? Why do I have bad nightmares? Why is my house haunted? Why is this person such an asshole? You know, it's like, those are the kind of other types of shaman services. Those things is just to look at. That's not to fix. So those are the key differences, in case you're wondering. Now, another warning before we move on is that a lot of people, when they astral project, they tend to get stuck. You know, you don't know how to leave that area, get out of that area. So you want to be careful with astral projecting. You know, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys, no, don't do it if you're not a shaman, okay? I'm not going to tell you to do that. I am just telling you to be careful, okay? Just be very, very careful. I know a lot of people have asked me about the movie The Conjuring. I think it's The Conjuring, you guys. That is, okay, the plot is this guy, he goes to sleep next to this haunted person who's in a coma, I believe. And it's been a long time since I've watched the movie, you guys. It's been years. And he, they put him in a trance, basically. And then he ends up just kind of falling asleep. And then all of a sudden he wakes up and he has astral projected. And so he's kind of walking around this haunted house looking for a red door. And so he comes across different spirits during that time. It's really creepy and airy, and there's some lamp or something going on. So a lot of people ask me about this movie, right? As far as like, is it true to shamanism? It's not. Okay, it is and it's not. Okay, it's more true to those who just astral project and they don't know what they're doing. It is not so much for shamans, but it's true as in the sense of the mentality of you leaving. But you're not asleep. You were not put into a trance in that kind of aspect, the way they did it in the movie. You are awake. Your physical self, you are awake, because you're doing a lot of work when you are awake. So, you know, you're totally awake. You have a part of your consciousness has just left your body. That's what it is. And there are always people around you. There's always entities around you, and they're always walking you through things. And there's a lot of work involved. So that, I felt like, barely touched the tip of the iceberg in that movie. It was, I mean, I remember watching it and I was like, why does everybody think it's about shamanism? Because, and now it's kind of making sense where people have the assumption that you go into a trance and then you leave your body. You know what I mean? Now, just so you guys know, shamans, we don't just go into the spirit world to go. Like, we just don't. Like, You know, I mentioned this in older videos. People who are shamans, we get really lazy about having to go into the spirit world because it's a lot of work, man. So in my older videos about levels that I talked about, when I first became a shaman, within a week, I raised myself to the 2nd shrine. And then within that month, I raised myself to the 3rd level. Okay. So you guys have to keep in mind though, what I went through. My spirit guides made me go into the spirit world every single day. Okay, you do not get a single break. Okay, like it's a lot of work. And I get it for people who are just getting into shamanism. You're super excited. You want to learn everything you can. You know, I wasn't like that. I was like, okay, I'm doing this, so I'm not going to be sick. So I don't have a demon following me. So I'm going to be okay. I had no idea the amount of work involved. Literally every single day for 5 to 6 months, I had to go into the spirit world every single day. And it's a lot of work. You're preparing your shrine, you got to prepare your body, and then you got to go for several hours. You have no life, okay? Like, so, and people love to come watch you. People love to ask for quick services because they know, oh, tonight she's gonna go. I'm gonna quickly go over and visit her, and while I'm there, I'm gonna throw in a quick question right before she's gonna go in oneng, okay? So I'm gonna ask, okay, you know, like, I just remembered this. It just happened. Can you also look at this when you're in there? And you're just kind of looking at them like, I know what you're doing. So, you know, like, it was constant, you guys. It was very, very draining for me. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to going into the spirit world every day. And so we only go, you guys, if we have to go. We don't go to practice. Okay. When I say practice, I mean, like, you know, like, I got nothing to do. You know what? I'm going to go into the spirit world. I would love to meet a shaman who actually says that. You know, and maybe there's a lot of people who just aren't as lazy as I was. And they really did love going into the spirit world. However, the only times I ever went into spirit world is if I had to do an actual ceremony for people. But I've mentioned in a lot of videos, you don't practice that ceremony. Okay, that's not how it works. You don't get to practice that ceremony before you do the actual ceremony. On the actual day, in front of hundreds of people, you are doing the ceremony for the first time in front of everybody. And when I am not doing a ceremony, the other times that I would always have to be forced to go in is because my guides were always telling me, we need to teach you this today. We need to teach you this today. We need to teach this today. So it was constantly a long learning plan that was set out before me. And so I had to go all the time. And every single day that I went, I got yelled at. Okay, so it wasn't even like it was a great party. I always got yelled at about what took me so long to finally raise my shrine and go into the spirit world and do everything I was supposed to do. So yeah, in a nutshell, you know, like shamans in general, we don't kind of like practice entering and exiting the spirit world. It's just done when we have to do something, and then we will actually do it. So, you know, like for other people though, if you don't have a structured type of shaman lineage in your clan, in your culture, then yeah, definitely you're kind of stuck having to try to do those small practices just to strengthen your spiritual self. But you know, again, the things that I warned you guys about, just be cautious about it. You need to learn your own magic when you are there, okay? So if you are going to be practicing going into the spirit world and you don't have guides who appear and you don't have all these things that happen, right? You need to practice and think about how are you going to protect yourself when you are on the other side, because you are there alone and you don't know what's going to come, what's going to happen, and a lot of things. The thing that I worry about is if you can't even see anything, that's what I worry about the most, because then you really don't know if something's there watching you the whole time and is probably followed you back. All right, so I have been getting a lot of questions lately, you guys, about shamans. You know, I've done a lot of older videos about advice for beginner shamans, advice for shamans in general, especially if your relationship isn't going well, and how you deal with it with your spirit guides, with other people in your life. Okay, I have done some videos on that, so definitely check those out. However, you know, really briefly, I know what everybody struggles with. A lot of shamans, and the reason why I know this is because when I was a shaman, you know, when you're a student shaman, you meet a lot of other student shamans. And then, you know, they are always kind of nervous to talk to you because they want to know what you know and if you can know anything that can help them. Because every shaman, no matter who you are, okay, I don't care if you were born a shaman and you were practicing at 5 years old, you all struggled with something. Every shaman has always struggled with something. You know, me, I struggled a lot with. Okay, I struggled a lot too. There were things I struggled with as far as believing and trusting in the things that they were showing me and telling me. Even though, yeah, that might be kind of weird because you guys were like, but it's right in front of you. I don't trust nothing, you guys. The only thing I trust is myself. So even if they literally showed me something, I'm like, I didn't see that. Like, because I'm not gonna trust it. Like, why would anybody openly trust a spirit that they don't know? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But this is why I get yelled at all the time, you guys. Yeah, because I'm laughing too. Now, the thing that a lot of shamans struggle with, if you were a person or are a person who can hear voices, you struggle with, how do I know when it's my voice or the spirit guide's voice? Like, it takes time. It just takes time. You will learn to trust them eventually. Trust me, I know. It's like, because I would hear things and I would ignore it, you know, because I'm like, you know, like, prove it, you know, because that's how I am. It's like, I'm not gonna shake, I'm not gonna do anything you want unless you force me, where there is no doubt in my mind, okay, yeah, maybe this is real. Like, that's how I am. So, and my guides know that. So that's why they are so forceful, or they're not gonna move me from anything. So it's gonna come with time. And for myself, really quickly, as a recap, I can hear an actual other voice. It is not my own. It is a different pitch, a different tone entirely, and they have different personality from myself. So that's how I know. And sometimes, okay, most of the times, there's more than one. Now, visions. Visions are probably just as tricky. I think all of these are really tricky, honestly. Visions is tricky because a lot of times it's not exactly what they're showing you. And even if they show you something, it could be something that's not meant for you. So you're kind of stuck with this information, but you don't know how to apply it because you don't know the full backstory, because they are just showing you a vision, especially when you're talking to people. When you're talking to people and another spirit is involved, you will see so many things and none of it makes sense. And so you have to ask the person, dude, what the hell is this? And they have to tell you because you don't know the full backstory, because the spirit is literally just showing you what they want to show you. But that image is meant for the other person who can't get the images. So you're pretty much a third party. And so a lot of times when it does apply to you, it's weird images. And you're supposed to decipher the image, like, because they try to show it to you in a way that they believe you will understand. Yeah. Dreams are just as bad as the other two. Okay, like, with dreams, you literally will develop it as time goes on. You're gonna have the premonition dreams, but I guarantee you're not gonna even know it until it finally happens. Okay? So it's kind of like, why did you even give me this premonition? Because it's basically things that you're not gonna be able to change, and it's gonna happen, and it's meant to prepare you. That took me a long time to accept. Seeing spirits, man. Somebody had asked me, like, how do ghosts know that you are somebody who can help them? It's because you make eye contact. I mean, literally, imagine going about your whole life and nobody will look at you, and then one day you see somebody looking at you. What do you think you're gonna do? You're gonna go to that person. Now, the thing with seeing spirits, though, this applies to myself. I have two different ways of seeing spirits. You're going to have what they call the third eye, and that's really more so spirits in the spirit world, but that you can see them. Like right here, it's me sitting here. I can see them, right? And then you're going to have those who just pop up in your naked eye, okay? Like those are the worst ones. Most likely, most of the time for myself, it's considered the worst because I find them more dangerous. That's probably why. More real. Let's say that. You know, it's never a good thing for myself to see them, whether it's through my third eye, especially if they're really strong through my third eye. I'm just like, I'm gonna leave now because nothing beats that. Just recently we were at Taco Bell and I was alone in the bathroom and I was washing my hands and there was this freaking ghost behind me and it was like just breathing on me and I'm just like, get away from me, you know, like, but you know, so it's just like, you know, seeing spirits is not what it's cracked up to be, you guys. Emotions, yeah, so emotions is pretty much just as bad as all the ones I just talked about, because it's literally you having to decipher the message through an emotion. Like, the key thing with emotions, just figure out what are the key emotions and then go from there. And you have to fill in all the blank spaces. You have to. And you sometimes, okay, most of the times, you have to do it fast, okay? Because if you start to feel scared, but people will start to freak out because they can't see anything, so they don't know where it's coming from, all right? All you gotta do is, as soon as you feel scared, take action and just start protecting yourself and just start killing anything around you, okay? That is the best advice I have for you on that. All right, you guys, so that was everything in a nutshell. Until next time.